The Pulse of Spokane is a broad show that showcases many different things in our community, sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.
Welcome into another edition of the Pulse of Spokane on Spokane Talks. And for the second guest today, I'm joined again in studio. And right now it's with Casey Jackson with the Institute of Individual and Organizational Change, or the IFIOC. How did I do?
That was great.
All right, perfect. First of all, thank you for taking the time to come out here. I just wanted to open it up generally to start. Tell me everything about IFIOC. Who you are, what you do, how it came about.
Well, so by trade, I'm a mental health and addiction counselor. 30 years working with children, with families, worked in the prison systems here in federal and state prison, kind of in the area. Then I ended up on faculty at Washington State University and found this one method of communication that had a massive amount of research and science behind it that was completely revolutionizing the addiction world. And when I was at WSU, I had a chance to kind of look at the science and research behind it and dove into studying that, and people started to ask me to train on it. So I started talking more about it, training on it, and it was having a profound impact on significant outcomes. The first major project I got to work on was here in Washington State with the Washington Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, so people with disabilities trying to get employment. And I worked on a project with them for several years, and it completely transformed their system. People were liking their jobs more, the outcomes were improving. It just made a significant difference. And then word started to spread. And then I just had an opportunity to go out on my own, and that's when I created IFIOC. And way too long of a name, but it really was because it helped individuals change, and I was changing organizations through this communication training that I was providing. So,
well, like you said, it is quite literally what you do.
It's exactly what I do.
So, I mean, in terms of it being a name, I mean, that's perfect.
It's exactly what I do.
Yeah, straight to the point, even if it is a little lengthier.
Very lengthy.
I was wondering if you could touch a little bit about or on the training and what that entails, what that looks like, and how that was revolutionizing and, changing people for the better.
Well, there's just massive amounts of training on communication out there. I mean, it's for decades and decades there's communication training. This training specifically, and what was so fascinating to me, is not only would it transform people's lives, you can actually measure to find out if you're doing it right. And I equate it, we talk about fidelity in the research world. And it just means that if your grandmother makes a recipe like nobody else's, and maybe the daughter-in-law tries to make the recipe, it just doesn't taste like grandma's.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. You have to follow grandma's recipe. Well, it's the same thing with fidelity-based science models. And so I'd learned to train this communication method that you have to follow it exactly. If you do, it transforms healthcare, like people with heart disease, diabetes, addiction, mental health issues. I've been doing a ton of work with Spokane Police Department. Like, it had a significant impact on some of the engagement that they had in situations. And what I was able to do is not only be able to train it, but then to be able to measure people afterwards, listen to conversation, and there's tools to measure whether or not they're doing it to grandma's recipe. And if they follow grandma's recipe, it completely changes people's outcomes. So people get into recovery quicker. They take their mental health medication more consistently. They exercise and do what they need for cardio rehab. So it was just such a profound impact. It's everything why I originally got into the field of social work and helping people.
Well, it's got to be nice, too, to know that there is an actual bottom line so you can grade and reflect on how well it's working.
Yes.
I can only imagine how much easier that makes things going forward.
Yes.
I mean, but obviously it's been working. So a typical day for you, you were mentioning before we got on the show that you were with your granddaughter in between or doing this in between training. So is that kind of how you spend the majority of your day is teaching these training sessions?
Absolutely. That's just probably pre-COVID, probably 3 to 4 days a week, every work week of the year that I work, I'm in front of a group training, either big groups, small groups, traveling around the country, sometimes outside of the country, providing these trainings and seeing these impacts and looking at the data of how it's influenced.
Yeah. So how has that changed, and what do those days look like now, or what do those training sessions look like in terms of, the amount of people?
I was nervous because partly what I love is just the energy of being with people and being able to orchestrate that, have them tap into their own values professionally. As a physician, what outcomes do you want? As a social worker, what outcomes do you want? And being able to have those real-time conversations is easier to engage them in the material. So switching to remote was not my happy place.
Yeah.
But it ended up turning out really well. I was shocked. What it did do is it expanded the audience that I get to talk to, because I had people from Canada sign up for classes, people on the East Coast. So I'll be doing one online training, and what I had to do is just break it down. Normally, a full training series is 2 days in a row. A month later, we get together. A month later, we get together, so they can start to build the difference between their knowledge base and shift to a skill set.
Okay.
People can gather the knowledge of it. They can pass a test on it. But then when you go to talk to somebody, it doesn't mean you're actually using it. So it takes a longer period of time. So I try to figure out, how do I condense that and still have the same potency in an online training? And so that's what I've really been focusing on.
So is that something, based on how it's gone over the last couple months, that you'll continue to offer going forward? Is that online training?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll still do the travel when things go back up to speed, or if they go back up to speed.
I know, knock on wood, yeah, whenever that might be.
Yeah, and I do have one group in Spokane, actually, they'll be training next week. It'll be kind of a hybrid where part of the group will be live at my training center at the flour mill. The other half will be streaming in just for their own personal reasons of deciding not to do the live in-person training. So that'll be my first hybrid one, my first live training since February.
Yeah.
End of February, beginning of March.
Yeah, maybe a little rust. Yeah, trying to get back on the bike.
That's exactly it.
I mean, yeah, I kind of like you were saying, I was a little, not apprehensive, but I wasn't super thrilled when we had to transfer over and do everything remotely, just because it's so much easier. You can get so much better of a feel, and then of course you have to factor in the potential of somebody's Wi-Fi not working and there being a lag, and it's just an awkward two people shooting ideas and totally missing each other and interrupting each other. But you get used to it, and just like anything else, you make the adjustment. Going back a ways, how long or when did you know, was there a pivotal or a concrete moment that you remember that got you into what you're doing now? Was there a point and you were like, okay, this is the direction that I'm going to, spend the next 30 years of my life?
The 30 years of my life, there was definitely a turning point. I went to school at University High School, and as this first pilot project, it was called Natural Helpers, that was going around the country, and it was just a peer support counselor kind of perspective. We had to fill out these long, I still remember this, we filled out these really long surveys. Everybody in the school had to fill them out. And everything from depression, sex, everything you can think of on this survey. And it took us probably an hour to fill them out. And at the end of it, they had to identify two students you would talk to about these issues, and who were two teachers you would talk to about these issues. And then they took the top 20 students and the top 5 teachers and sent them to this camp for 3 days. And when you do that, it was such a cross representation. There was every Breakfast Club group was represented. I mean, there was the jocks, the stoners, everybody was
everything in between. Yeah,
because
everyone.
Who's the two people you talk to? Well, different people are going to talk to different people. So, and it was just transformative. I just thought, I cannot believe I can make a living talking to people and helping them with their lives. Like being able to take somebody out to coffee and listen to what's going on with them and help them navigate that and pay bills. I could not. I thought there has to be a catch. There's no way that this can be real. And I knew, and I made it easy. I just shot straight through college, went through 6 years, got my master's, and started working when I was 19 in juvenile court, and just started working in all the populations I would work with mental health, addiction, youth, just everything that I could help with homelessness, anything I could do to help kind of make the world better, and made a living from it.
Yeah.
And then my career just evolved to what I'm doing now.
I consider you a lucky guy. I mean, it's not seldom, but it's very, not even rare, but it's nice when people are able to knock out two birds with one stone.
Absolutely.
Their passion, and they're actually, getting fulfillment from what they're doing, but also being paid for it and able to make a living.
Yes.
I mean, it's sad that it's not more common and normal, but yeah, it seems like you've tripped into quite the deal.
Absolutely.
And it's got to be really fulfilling stuff, being able to have those
Hugely.
conversations, and those conversations aren't just surface level conversations.
No.
They get into the nitty gritty and kind of more the human essence for the ugly, the bad, the good, and everything that does make us human.
That's it.
Yeah.
I know I'm blessed with my career.
Mm-hmm.
I love every day I go to work. I've been doing it for 35 years now, and I love going to
Well,
work.
I can see it on your face too, and the way that you're lighting up about it, just talking about it now. Yeah, no, it's really awesome to see. For people that might want to learn a little bit more or dive into it, where can people find you? You guys have a website, I presume?
Yeah, we do. We have IFIOC.com, which is just IFIOC.com. I have one that I know that's up to an extent, just my own, with CaseyJackson.com.org,
Okay.
those ones. And then anything on motivational interviewing is what we teach and train on, and then just the fidelity of that. But you just Google search motivational interviewing,
Okay.
and it gives a massive amount of information. We have a ton, but there's just a lot of great trainers out there as well, too.
Oh, I can only imagine.
So.
Yeah. Well, Casey, thank you so much for taking the time
Yeah.
and coming down and sitting with us. I hope you have a good rest of the day with
Thank
your
you.
training sessions and with your granddaughter if you are so lucky to see her
I
again.
get to.
Thank you again for coming in, man.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
All right.
That's going to do it for us on this edition of The Pulse, and we'll see you next time.
As a community, you've always risen to the occasion. And at Wendell Motors, we want to help you continue that in whatever way we can. We're here to lend you a hand with 0% financing for 84 months and no payments for 90 days on 2020 and 2019 Fords. Unheard of financing on the F-150, Edge, Explorer, Ranger, and more. Our trained staff is following all CDC guidelines. We will deliver the vehicle to you and make the process as seamless as possible. Call us today or visit us online at wendell.com.
I'm former Washington State Representative Leonard Christian, and since I left office, the budget has almost doubled, and the governor signed comprehensive K-12 sex education into law. He's also abused his emergency powers. I'm asking for your support to help me return to Olympia so that I can protect businesses and families. I'm Leonard Christian, the reasonable right candidate, and I ask for your vote.
Paid for by Leonard Christian for State Representative, Republican.
National Barricade and Sign Company is a well-established company founded in 1957. National Barricade has become a well-known business in the Spokane Valley for more than 50 years. Over the years, we have built long-lasting relationships with many cities, counties, and their departments of transportation. Customers come to us because they know they are going to get the best quality service at the best possible price. National Barricade prides itself on getting the job done in a timely manner. We know that contractors must have certain items in a timely fashion to get their job done, and if we don't have it, we will get it. We guarantee fast service no matter how long it takes.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.